Hello everyone, today I want to take another look at that new Microsoft Bing chat AI that we took a look at last night. And the reason why I want to do this is I kind of, made fun of it last night for not being the best tool. But I've, spent quite a few hours this night trying to get this to, I guess, work a little bit better. And I think I figured out a pretty decent way to get this to spit out like actually useful information. So once again, to get started, you can just go over to Bing, search for, anything. And then if you just click on the chat option, it'll open up this full page chat window. So what I've found is when we do stuff with the balanced setting, you end up with some pretty not great search results. Because again, this is kind of like a search engine more so than a chat bot. So we tried doing something like how do I add usernames to a Ruby on Rails devise user. I tried asking a question like this last night in that video, and we sort of got back some garbage in all honesty. Similar to this, where there's really not a lot that's useful. And then the videos that it linked, when I asked for, are there any YouTube videos on this topic? The videos that it linked were from my channel, so that's great, but they were not the right videos because I specifically have videos that cover how to use usernames. You can see right here, log in with username and email, this video specifically, but then it pops up with the user moderators, account roles video. And you don't actually see the username video here until you get to the third result, right? So what I found is if you switch over to the creative option and then you give it a prompt where you actually just feed it like a specific URL for a gem, that's been really helpful. I just said, hey, how do you set up usernames to log in with devise specifically? And I set it to creative. And it seems like when it's on creative, it's a little bit more willing to take a risk with what it returns. So when it's on the moderate, you get a shorter response. And I'm assuming if you go over to the super strict option, you probably only get a sentence or two, right? Now this I've walked through a little bit, and this seems to be more correct than even what I got with GPT 3.5 yesterday on OpenAI's website, because here it actually talks about using the login and having the attribute writer as well as the find for database authentication stuff. So this is good. The concern that I have here, you'll see it's nice because it cites its sources and you can even hover over them. You can see this is a line from a WebCrunch article, and this is a line from a DigitalOcean article. It's not really a concern in terms of the quality of the educational materials here, because it's pretty much just lifting this straight off of some websites, but that does raise some questions where this is no longer a short snippet that links to the source material, and now it's just kind of, stripping out the source material from that link and just feeding it right here. And the question that everyone's had is, how does Google defend their ad revenue if people start using these chatbots instead of doing Google searches? Well, the obvious answer is you start, throwing ads into this search engine, right? Or this chatbot, whatever you want to call it. At this point, I think we can safely just call this a search engine if it's just lifting stuff from articles. But my concern now, as I was using this in the creative mode and I saw, you can get a lot of information out of this, is I'm not going to WebCrunch's article. I'm not going to DigitalOcean's article, right? I'm just here getting the stuff that they would survive off ad revenue for in a means where it's just not, it's not benefiting them in any way, shape, or form. It's benefiting Microsoft and Bing, I guess, but it's not, it's kind of just copying and pasting this stuff to another website and then just, lifting it for your own benefit, I guess. So this to me seems a little bit more ethically questionable than even what like GPT does, because there at least it's not, current up-to-date stuff. It seems to want to innovate based on what it's being fed. Here it just seems like it's scraping lines from websites directly as the data goes up. So like that I'm not really a fan of, and I think this is ultimately going to become like the discussion point as these things move forward if they're going to start doing this. Because I mean, maybe if you do some kind of like revenue share similar to how YouTube works, where if you have the link in GPT, then maybe part of the advertising revenue goes to, you know, the owners of those websites if they opt in. But I don't know. This to me is all sorts of problematic, and I'm sure we're going to see this end up in court in some way, shape, or form, because even taking snippets from like books before for like indexing purposes for search engines, that ended up in court. Now Google won that one because it was deemed like a, you know, necessary use where it benefits people. Here, I don't know if I could make that same argument, because this is just like, I mean, this is almost verbatim what's found on the Devise documentation page for how to use. Actually, you know what? Let's go over to Devise and see. This should be the Devise GitHub page. There should be a section in the wiki, I guess, if they have a wiki. Yeah, right here, where you can search for like usernames and hopefully sign in using usernames. Yeah, so if we take this, we'll move the chat over here and we'll move the Devise docs over here. We can hopefully find just how similar this this is. Some sections are going to look, you know, similar just due to the nature of it. But I mean, some of it, it's just, it seems like it's regurgitating what's being said here. Now, this could also just be due to what's being said on the websites themselves, I guess. But, you know, this is like, this is a step too far for me. And I'm not really the biggest blogger, of course. Like, I haven't written a blog on my website in quite some time. But we do have to, you know, be responsible with how we use materials on the internet. So, I don't know. That's me on my high horse about this. But setting that aside, I think we can, you know, agree that right now this is beneficial. If you're trying to learn stuff, this is a good way of doing it, if only because it gives you the links, and then you can open those links and, you know, take a better look at how that article says to do stuff. But you know, we all have to draw our lines somewhere, and this is getting a little bit too far into you can't just, you know, you can't just add a citation and claim it's your own thing. It's not how, you know, citations in academic works even work. You know, if your whole paper is just you citing other people with no original contributions on your own, you do have to ask if you've actually written a paper or if you've just done some aggregation. So I guess we'll see how this goes forward. I just wanted to, like, you know, talk about this a bit and say that there is a better way to use it. Switch it over to the creative mode and then maybe give it like a link to, you know, compare notes with. I've tried this with a few different prompts. I tried this with some stimulus stuff with the Devise users. I just used the usernames here specifically for comparison to what I did last night. I've also tried it with, like, you know, active storage. I've tried it with other languages. I even tried it with I tried it with like a RuneScape moneymaker. I switched it over to creative, and I mean, it was definitely better than having it on the standard option. So I definitely recommend, if you come over here, to go to the more creative. I mean, we can even try the more precise. I'll grab the same prompt and we'll see what more precise looks like. But overall, I think the creative one is probably the one I'd stick with going forward. I just have to decide if, you know, this is something I'm cool with using, because, you know, some of this is questionable at best. So yeah, here, like, this isn't even useful. It's just like, here's links in order, but it's even less useful than just going to like Bing and searching up how to add usernames to Devise. Because like here, at least I get the links in order, but I can still, you know, see the general summary of them. Here, it's like, just reading the citations list in a research paper and trying to figure out which number you want to read more about, right? So I'd say probably your creative one is your best bet if you're trying to use this educationally. That said, I mean, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to. You can limit yourself and say you're not going to use this for moral reasons, but not to sound too defeatist, the protest of one generally isn't very effective. So if you get a lot of benefit out of it, might just be a fight that's not worth fighting, you know? Anyways, that's all I really had to say about this. I just wanted to take another look at this. I apologize that this is a bit more of a rant. It's just that these links really just... This is getting into territories where I'm like, yeah, we're pretty much just stealing what the bloggers wrote, and we're just regurgitating it for our own benefits. So thought I'd talk about it for a bit. But yeah, that's it for me. Hopefully you found this, I don't know, informative, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.